Welcome to this edition of City Corner. Today we have a delightful show lined up for you. We're grateful to have guests from Ready Readers, a local organization doing pivotal work to help change literacy access for children across our city. In addition to that, we'll get to learn about Generate Health, who is transforming and eliminating racial disparities amongst Black maternal and infant health. Stay tuned, there's more to come. Welcome to City Corner. We are so grateful to have you here. You know, November marks Family Literacy Month, as well as on November 20th, we will all get to celebrate World Children's Day. And we couldn't think of a better organization to have right here in our own community, and that's Ready Readers. Today, I'm joined by Executive Director Angela Sears Spittal, who will tell us more about the mission. Angela, it is so awesome to have you here today. Thank you for joining us. More importantly, thank you for carving out time in your busy day, because we know the mission is so important.
We are so excited to be here, and we're so excited to celebrate both of these events coming up. They're so important for children. We think National Family Literacy Month reminds families that reading isn't just something that happens at school. It is a home, it is an everyday activity that needs to be emphasized and celebrated throughout the day. So we love that. We also love the focus on children's welfare and rights that UNICEF puts on World Children's Day later this month. And we believe very deeply that literacy is a human right, that every child deserves the right to learn how to read. And so that's an area of focus for us.
Thank you so much. Well, so that we can introduce the audience more to your mission, talk to us about Ready Readers. What do you do here in St. Louis?
I love it. Ready Readers is based in St. Louis. We serve the city, county, surrounding counties, some of the work in southwestern Illinois. We share the joy and the power of reading, because we know that reading is both. It is pure joy. Anytime you talk to a 3 or 4-year-old, you read them a story, you can see the joy on their face, their excitement, they light up. But it's also joy for adults. Reading provides a great source of relaxation, of escape for adults as well as children. It's also powerful. Reading changes lives. It's that simple. We know that when children are ready to learn how to read when they go into kindergarten, they are more likely to be reading at grade level in the 3rd grade. When children read at grade level in the 3rd grade, that positions them for success for the rest of their lives. They are more likely to graduate from high school. They have better paying jobs. They have better health outcomes. Everything is better when children are reading at an age-appropriate level.
Well, you know, the fact that you really illustrate that reading is a fundamental habit that all of us need to support children in establishing early is something that I think our audience and our viewers will really understand. But I think the one piece that I absolutely love about your mission that differentiates you all from a lot of organizations is your focus on equitable literacy access. Can you talk about what that means?
I'd love to. For Ready Readers, we serve under-resourced or lower-income communities. Because of systemic racism, we predominantly serve children and teachers and families of color. So for us, that changes everything about the work that we do. Here's a really specific example of that. We distribute more than 170,000 new books every year in our community for home libraries. We want books on shelves in children's homes. Nationally, only about 12 to 18% of children's books feature children of color. It's ridiculously low, right? We want to make sure children have books where they can see themselves represented, where they can see their life, where they can see their families, their neighborhoods, where they can get an idea of who they are in the books that we're distributing. And for other children, we want to provide opportunities to open doors and windows for them. So we want to make sure that researchers talk a lot about books being windows, doors, and mirrors for kids, that kids need to be able to look out a window, see a new perspective, open a door, walk into a new world, and look in a mirror and see themselves. Our focus is that children can do that through the books we distribute. Without that, the windows are closed, the doors are shut, the mirrors are broken. Children don't have that access, and they need it to really enjoy and be curious about reading.
The imagery of that and the truth behind that really resonates with me. And I'm sure those watching at home who have little children in their families and their lives, we all can attest to what it feels like to watch a child read a book, right?
Yes.
And the discovery that happens and the curiosity that's sparked. So I really appreciate the work that you all are doing. Speaking of the sheer volume of books that you all distribute, that takes a lot of people power. Can you talk about and shout out to the folks at Ready Readers, the volunteers, the staff? Can you talk about just the logistics and how you all do what you do?
Ready Readers is centered on children, right? That's the reason we exist, but we are powered by volunteers.
Yes.
We have a team of 14, a small but mighty team of 14, and it takes hundreds of volunteers to make this happen. So we have about 280 volunteers who go into the classroom every week to read to children. Wow. We have additional volunteers who come in and pack books in our warehouse and help deliver books. We have additional volunteers who help us at community events. We have neighborhood reading captains who are amazing, who work in neighborhoods. Those are folks who live in a neighborhood and talk to their neighbors about reading and literacy and distribute books. So we are all centered on children, but we are powered by volunteers and supporters who make it possible.
So those sitting at home saying, I don't have any kids, this mission doesn't apply to me. Yes, it does. If you are in this community, you can have an impact, whether that's showing up to read to a child, whether that's perhaps donating books. Maybe you work for an employer that has a gift match campaign of some sort that can give back. One of the things that I read about reading, and specifically with children, I saw a statistic that said just 15 minutes a day can be transformative for a child. And I think of children today, when we see kids, they have a little gadget, some type of technological device in their hands. All of that is natural for children. But why is it so important to focus on reading, and even just getting 15 minutes a day, how pivotal that might be for a child?
Everything makes a difference, right? Sometimes I have folks who say, why don't you do more screens for children or put things digitally? There is not a pediatrician in the country who says that's what 4-year-olds need, that they need more screens, right? They need books. They need to learn how to turn the page of a book. That their fine motor skills. They need to be absorbed in a book. There are just so many benefits to it, and it can be really simple for parents. I think sometimes we try to make it hard and complicated. I don't have time. You mentioned 15 minutes a day, 10 minutes, bedtime. That makes such a difference. But even just talking, singing to your children, narrating your day, children need to hear the sounds. That's how they pick up on language and sounds. So young children, they need to just hear you talking. And even things like incorporating it into your daily errands. When you're at the grocery store, look for a letter on cereal boxes. Look for the words, count the letters. There are so many things you can do to incorporate reading into your everyday practice and life with children, and it makes a difference in the long run.
Thank you. Thank you. That hopefully simplifies it for folks who are saying, well, reading takes a lot of time. It's cumbersome. The kids get agitated or they get restless. And I just think about 15 minutes. That means a world of difference to a child. You know, we were sitting behind stage earlier today looking at some of the books, and my face lit up, and obviously this is probably past my reading comprehension level, but some of the awesome books like this one, Las Figuras, and the fact that you all are working with children who are also bilingual, multilingual, really reaching in to help children where they are. I think that speaks volumes about the magnitude of the impact that you all are having. You know, when I think about the books, one of the things you said, I think, did you say roughly 170,000 books?
Yes, new books.
That is amazing. When I think about those books, do you all have criteria that you look at when selecting the books, and how you make sure those are distributed when you do?
We do. We read hundreds of children's books a year. Our staff team just labors over what books to select. And we look for things like, we want to make sure it represents diverse characters and experiences. We want to make sure there's a range. We give out 6 to 7 books a year per child. So we want to make sure there's a range of topics and structure, in those books. We want to make sure the language is great for children, really engaging for children, and the photos, the illustrations, the photos need to be great for children. So those are all the types of things that we think about and focus on when we're selecting books. one last thing. We want to make sure they're fun.
Yes, please.
We want reading to be fun for children.
Yes.
So all of the books, we want children to want to read them, to be engaged by them. Sometimes adults' idea of fun is really different, right? For a child. One of my favorite books we gave out was a couple of years ago to 2-year-olds, and it was called Where Do Pants Go? And it was, do pants go on your head? Do they go on your arm? Do they go on your leg? Hilarious to a 2-year-old, right? And so we want to make sure reading is fun for children.
Yes.
One last thing about the books that we distribute, they include notes for parents on the inside, both in English and Spanish. Just simple tips for parents about how to incorporate that book, the pages of that book, into the reading with their child.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So as we start to look at wrapping up right now, when you think about the children's lives that you all have impacted, what's one of those memories or things that you just constantly comes back to why this mission is so important to you?
You know, I'm so lucky. I get to come back to it every Monday. I read to a classroom every Monday. And I think of a little Jaron who's in my class, but he's not little anymore. He started when he was 2. He could barely sit still. Right? Now he's 5. He's a big kid in the class. He knows how to sit for a story time. That's really hard when you're 2 and 3 years old. You have to learn how to sit still for a story time. But we started reading together when he was 2, and now he's got his letters down. He's ready to learn how to read.
Awesome.
And he is the example I get to see every week about the power and the joy of reading.
Angela, it has been an absolute delight to learn about Ready Readers, your passion and the passion of all the volunteers and staff. Before we go, tell viewers how they can get involved, perhaps your website, and how to get involved in volunteerism.
Thank you so much. Just go to readyreaders.org.
Okay.
It has information there about volunteer, about donating, about being part. I think Ready Readers is a great example that one person can make a difference. Awesome. You can make a difference for a classroom of children. You can make a difference by donating. You can make a difference in our community to help our next generation be ready to read.
Awesome. This is amazing. I'm excited to read to a child. And, you know, I've got to brush up on my Spanish, so I'll be ready to read Las Figuras. We want to thank Angela for being here today. And shout out to everybody at Ready Readers, all the volunteers that keep this mission fueled in the community. We'll see you shortly for our next conversation. Thanks, Angela.
Did you know that you can watch STL TV on your smart TV? That's right. With the new STL TV Now app, you can watch STL TV at home without a cable subscription. And that includes our live broadcast channel as well as video on demand content. We have apps for Apple TV, Fire TV, and Roku. You probably have at least one of those at home, right? But this one is a Fire TV. Now listen, it is really easy to get started. Just find the App Store on your TV, then search for STL TV Now. Select it and click to install. And in just a few seconds, you are enjoying STL TV's great programming such as City Corner, Inside Sports, City Government, and public interest coverage. Or, my personal favorite, In the Kitchen.
Welcome back to City Corner. I'm your host, Sonji Young. You know, in our community, there is a coalition of over 400 community and health partners working to eliminate the disparities in Black maternal and infant health. You know, this is one of those topics today that I hope our audience will take in a special account to sit with and understand. This is one of those experiences that we want to change for mothers throughout our city. And I am so grateful to have with us today none other than Lora Gulley, who's the Chief Operating Officer of Generate Health. So awesome to have you here today, Lora. Thank you. And I will preface our conversation by saying this work that you and your team at Generate Health are doing is really personal to me. And I know so many families that have unfortunately been impacted by Black maternal mortality, unfortunately. But why don't we start with the good work that you all are doing to eliminate these racial disparities? Talk to me more about the mission at Generate Health.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me
Sure.
too. I will just say Generate Health has been around for almost 26 years. And we've been in community making sure that we are raising awareness, we're educating, and advocating for a racially just community.
Yes.
Part of that is ensuring that the racial disparities in maternal and infant health are minimized. And so as we don't do this work by ourselves, so we know it takes a community. Yeah. And that's part of what Generate Health has been doing, is building community. We are a coalition, a diverse coalition of many, many stakeholders. So we don't claim the fame for any of the successes, but we do recognize that everyone has a role in our community around this particular issue.
Thank you. You know, when I think of maternal health and infant care, I can't stop but to wonder about, motherhood and parenthood is an exciting time for lots of folks, right? You know, you see folks talking about the gender reveal and the baby shower, all of this excitement. But I think one of the things that we often miss is what's most crucial is how is that mother and child being treated at birth, starting, at the time that a mother finds out that she is with child, up to the pregnancy and the delivery and post-delivery care. Can you talk about some of the challenges with the differentiating care that perhaps Black mothers might receive in hospitals and healthcare institutions that differs from their counterparts?
Yes. When we go out to community, we ask questions. We ask, what is your experience like? Help us better understand, because part of what we're doing is advocating.
Right.
We want to be able to be in a position to understand what is happening, what are the experiences, and far too often what we hear are particularly Black women talk about their experiences of being dismissed. Their care from their vantage point has been that they're not listened to. Some experience a form of disrespect. And historically speaking, we can't erase the fact of what has happened in the past has residue in our experiences of today. So some of the things that we've heard and have learned from many voices from those in community, as well as even on the provider side, that the Black women have experienced where they've been dismissed or not listened to, but also feeling like that no one's paying attention to their voice and that they can't trust that their care is going to be of good quality and have been shopping around and even to the point where some are even fearing entering motherhood. And that we want to disrupt that. We want to pay attention to what can we do to make sure that doesn't happen.
Thank you. Thank you for the amazing work that you all are doing. I think one of the statistics that I read is that the Black maternal mortality rate is 3 times to 4 times higher than white mothers. That is astounding. It's startling. And to your point, there are mothers and folks who are family planning, thinking about, is this the right decision? Is having a child the right decision when mothers may encounter this type of care? How can we, as individuals, help to advocate? So what can I do? I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not going to be there bedside by a mother who is embarking upon a delivery or post-delivery care. But what can I do for perhaps a cousin or a family member who is with child?
Yes, we want you to be informed.
Okay.
First, we want you to understand what are some of the urgent maternal warning signs to be paying attention to.
Okay.
Things that we know are important to know when you need to access your provider.
Okay.
Things as recurring headaches and or swelling of the feet. particularly if you are pregnant or up to a year after. These are things that we want to pay attention to. So we have a know your power guide that can help inform you and ask the right questions. Because I can't tell you how many times we've had people tell us we've gone to the doctor and we have tons of questions, but when we get there, we can't remember one of them. Not until we leave do we recognize, like, man, I wish I would have known. So some of those things that are easy for us to, in being educated and informed about what those urgent maternal warning signs are, when do we need to contact the doctor, and supporting folks. And the last thing I will say is this. Listen to Black women. Listen to women that are pregnant that are saying something's not right. Many times we may be talking with a girlfriend or a family member or even just someone that is in close proximity or coworker. Pay attention to those signs. That's what we can do.
Thank you. And that is something that I could do, and all of us can do, quite frankly, is be more attentive to when we notice perhaps a family member who is expecting a child. If they complain about symptoms that they might be having, not just write it off, right? Sometimes we write things off because perhaps we don't have the medical background or expertise, but that might very well be the advocacy that that mother needs. And so thank you for calling that out. You all have something called the To Be Heard campaign. And if there is anything that I think everyone needs to hear about right now, it's this campaign, because it's a true call to action, not just focusing on Black maternal health, but our community's role and what we can do to change these statistics.
Yes, this is a call to action. So if you're sitting there wondering, do I have a role to play? What can I do? This is an opportunity. So what the To Be Heard initiative is a storytelling campaign. It's a way for our community to share their stories of resilience, of a challenge, and triumph. There are many ways that you can do that. If you are a pregnant person, if you are a care provider or a support person, even if you are a provider providing that care, we want to hear those stories, because it's not that it would go and sit on a shelf. What we want to do with those stories is, we want to build awareness, but we also want to call our community to action around advocacy, being a part of the solution. And it's from those stories, when we listen, that we will achieve that outcome.
That's awesome. I am absolutely ecstatic that we have this coalition in our community, because I've often wondered, and I've seen those stories on the news about celebrities like Serena Williams and mothers who are in our communities and abroad here who've unfortunately had to encounter challenges, and unfortunately some who have lost their lives during childbirth. As we start to kind of close here, when you think about the power that we all have to make an impact, what gives you hope about helping Black mothers and infants?
That they're not alone. This is a community, and we are a community. There's opportunities for our entire community to play a role, whether you are a healthcare provider, whether you are a community person and you recognize something going on with your neighbor, if you are a teacher, if you are a student, there is a role to play as part of this coalition. We want our community to be healthy and well.
Thank you. And something you said that resonates, and I hope that our audience caught it. This is not just a Black issue. This is a community issue. It's a community health issue. And that requires all of us from every background to be responsive. If you are a doctor, if you're a nurse, if you're a neighbor, whether you are Black or not, this is something we all have to be responsive to. So help us as we start to close here. What are some of the things that we can be doing? How can we get connected to the mission? Is there a website that we can connect to? Are there people we should reach out to? Tell us more.
Yes, I would drive folks to contact us via our website.
Okay.
You can join our newsletter that you can get updates and follow and be a supporter of our mission. And if you're feeling even more sparked that you want to take another step, we have opportunities for you to be an ambassador. This would be a more active role that you want to advocate, or you want to participate in some of the outreach events and other ways that you can use your expertise. if there are plenty of ways, and if you're wondering, please contact us, and we will, have conversations about what that could look like.
Lora Gulley, Chief Operating Officer of Generate Health. It has been a pleasure to speak with you, learn from you, and thank you to all who are part of the coalition for the amazing work that you all do.
Thank you so much.
Be sure to check out more about Generate Health. It has been an awesome episode today to hear from Ready Readers and Generate Health. It's a reminder that there is so much impactful work happening in St. Louis, and it requires all of us to show up differently, but more importantly, to be showing up with intention. We thank you for joining us on this episode, and we look forward to having you next time. Take care.